Many a day we rode together on that quiet stream, the three little maidens, Duckworth and I, and many a fairy tale had been told for their benefit. Yet none of these very many tales got written down. They lived and died like summer midges, each in its golden afternoon, until there came a day when one of my listeners begged that the tale be written out for her.
All in a golden afternoon, under the skies of cloudless blue, leisurely gliding time away, heading upstream to find some shade, sleepily drifting on our way, that dreamy English summer's day. All in a golden afternoon, eager for stories wild and new. Three little ladies named Liddell long for a fable to be told. What can a single voice of her against three tongues that beg a tale? Tell us the story. Tell us the story. Tell us the story. All in a golden afternoon, tales of imagination grew. Alice the dream child took our hands through many adventures all unplanned. Slowly the tales of Wonderland did come to us as now they stand. Tell us the story. Tell us the story. Tell us the story, please.
Full many a year has slipped away since that golden afternoon, but I could call it up almost as clearly as if it were yesterday. The cloudless blue above, the watery mirror below, the boat drifting idly on its way, the tinkle of the drops that fell from the oars as they waved so sleepily to and fro, and the three eager faces hungry for news of fairyland. Alice was beginning to get quite tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeped into the book her sister was reading.
What is the use of a book without pictures or conversation in it?
She was considering whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking the daisies, when suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her.
I'm late, I'm getting in terrible state, I have to hurry. Better get to move because I'm running out of time, I'm late, I haven't got a moment to waste, I'm getting worried. What am I to do? I'm going out of my mind. I'm late, if that has a minute to waste, you'll have my head off. Better get a move because I'm running out of time, I'm late, if I cannot keep this crucial date, there'll be no let off. What am I to do? I'm going out of my mind. I'm late.
Burning with curiosity, Alice ran across the field after it. Fortunately, she was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge. She went down after it. The rabbit hole went straight on like a deep tunnel, then dipped suddenly down. Alice found herself falling down a very deep well.
happen? It seems I've been falling for miles unending. And when will it stop?
Down, down, down. I feel I'm falling through the ground. Down, down, down. I'm falling slowly, falling down. Down, down, down. My world is turning all around. Down, down, down. I'm feeling sleepy feelings now.
Falling in darkness past cupboards and bookshelves. I'm looking around me at pictures and maps.
Down, down, down. I feel I'm falling through the ground. Down, down, down. I'm falling slowly, falling down. Down, down, down. My world is turning all around. Down, down, down. I'm feeling sleepy feelings now.
Where am I going? I can't get my bearing. I've gone such a distance. Where will I end up?
Down she came upon a heap of dry sticks and leaves, and the fall was over. Alice jumped onto her feet in a moment. It was dark overhead, and in front was another long passage. The White Rabbit was still in sight, hurrying along it.
Oh, my ears and whiskers, how late it's getting.
What an unusual hallway. I do believe I'm in the rabbit's house. Oh, he's left a key. I wonder if it opens one of these doors.
Alas, either the locks were too large or the key was too small. At any rate, it wouldn't open any of them. Suddenly, Alice came upon a low curtain she had not noticed before, and behind it was a little door about 15 inches high. She opened the door and looked along the passage.
The loveliest garden you ever saw. Who can find my lovely garden? It's the place I'd really like to be. Safe inside my lovely garden, with the sunlight streaming down on me.
Fountains pure and grass so green. I can hear birds singing in the trees. I must find my lovely garden. It's the place I visit in my
How I wish I could get out of this dark hall and wander about among those beds of bright flowers and those cool fountains. But I can't even get my head through the doorway. And even if my head would go through, it will be of very little use without my shoulders. If only I could find a way.
fountains pure.
I wish I could shut up like a telescope. Perhaps I might find a book of rules that would show me how. This little bottle certainly wasn't here before. Drink me. I shall look first and see whether it's marked poison or not. Anything marked poison is sure to disagree with you sooner or later, if you drink too much of it. This looks okay though. Very nice. A mixed sort of flavour. Cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. Delicious. What a curious feeling. I must be getting smaller.
And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high. Alice felt a little nervous about shrinking any further. After a while, finding nothing more happened, she decided to go to the garden at once. But when she got to the door, she found she had forgotten the key, and when she went back to the table to get it, she couldn't possibly reach it. Try as she might, it was no use. Alice sat down and cried.
There's no use in crying like that. I advise you to leave off this minute.
Suddenly, she noticed a small cake beside her. The words "Eat me" were written on it in currants.
Well, I shall eat it. If it makes it grow larger, I can reach the key. And if it makes it grow smaller, I can creep under the door. Either way, I'll get into the garden. Which way? Which way? Curiouser and curiouser. Now I'm opening out like the tallest telescope that ever was. Goodbye, feet.
Alice was now more than 9 feet high. At once, she took the little golden key and hurried off to the garden door. Lying down on one side, it was all that she could do than to look through the garden door with one eye. To try and get through was more hopeless than ever. Alice sat down and began to cry again.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. A great girl like you to go on crying like this. Stop this moment, I tell you.
But she went on all the same, shedding gallons of tears until there was a large pool of tears around her. Suddenly, she heard a pattering of feet in the distance.
The Duchess, won't you be savage if I kept her waiting? I'm late. If the Duchess is a minute to wait, she'll have my head off. Better get a move, 'cause we're running out of time. I'm late. If I cannot his crucial date, there'll be no let off. What am I doing going out of my mind? I'm late.
If you please, sir.
I can't stop now. I'll be late.
Dear, how clear everything is today. Goodness, I'm shrinking again. It must be the fan. I never was so small as this before. Never.
As she said these words, her foot slipped in another moment. Splash! She was now up to her chin in water. At first, she thought she had somehow fallen into the ocean, but soon realized that she was only in the pool of tears which she had wept at when she was 9 feet high.
I'm sinking and I'm sighing for all my silly crying. I really wonder why I'm here at all. I'm shrinking and I'm growing. I'm coming and I'm going. I'm tired of never knowing who I am.
I wish I hadn't cried so much. I wish I hadn't cried so much. Now everything is strange and nothing is the same at all. I wish I hadn't cried so much. I wish I hadn't cried so much. Now every day my life was such unusual.
This place is topsy-turvy. It's all a bit unnerving, 'cause none of what I've learnt is quite the same. This wonderland I've entered is full of such adventure, but just for now I'd settle for a change.
I wish I hadn't cried so much. I wish I hadn't cried so much. Everything
Just then, she heard something splashing about in the pool a little way off, so she swam nearer to make out what it was. At first, she thought it must be a walrus or a hippopotamus, but then remembered how small she was now, and only found that it was a mouse that had slipped into the pool like herself.
Oh, Mouse, do you know the way out of here? I'm very tired of swimming about like this. Oh, Mouse. Perhaps it doesn't understand English. Perhaps it's a French mouse. I don't know much French. Let me see. Or esmachate. Oh, I do beg your pardon. I quite forgot you didn't like cats.
Not like cats? Would you like cats if you were me?
Well, perhaps not.
Nasty, low, vulgar things. Don't let me hear any more about them again.
Are you fond of dogs? There's such a nice little dog in our house. I should like to show you.
Cats, dogs, are nice little things.
Oh dear, now I've offended it again. Mouse dear, do come back. We won't talk about cats or dogs if you don't like them.
Let's swim back to shore, and then I'll tell you my history. Then you'll understand why it is I hate cats and dogs.
It was high time for them to go. The pool was getting quite crowded with all the birds that had fallen into it. There was a duck, a dodo, a lorry, and several other curious creatures. Alice led away, and the whole party swam to shore. What a weird-looking party they were assembled on the bank. The first question, of course, was how to get dry.
Sit down, all of you, and listen to me. Silence, if you please.
Must we this story again?
I'll soon make you dry. This is the driest thing I know. William the Conqueror, whose course was favoured by the Pope, was soon... I'll proceed. The patriotic Archbishop of Canterbury found advisable.
Found what?
Found it. Of course you know what it means. He found it advisable to meet William and offer him the crown. How are you getting on, my dear?
I'm as wet as ever. It doesn't seem to dry me at all.
In that case, I move the adjourned meeting for the immediate adoption of more energetic remedies.
Speak English. I don't know the meaning of half-truth-long words. And what's more, I don't believe you, do either.
I was going to say the best way to get us dry would be a caucus race.
What is a caucus race?
Well, the best way to explain it is to do it. Here is the race course. The exact shape doesn't matter. Stand where you like, begin to run when you like, and leave off when you like.
In the caucus race, you choose your starting place. You can then begin and end exactly where you like. In the caucus race, you run at your own pace. You'll be guaranteed to win a prize. If your fur and feathers are a sorry sight, if you're feeling cold and wet, come and join the race and you'll get dry. There's no need to be upset. In the caucus race, you choose your starting place. You can then begin and end exactly where you like. In the caucus race, you run at your own
over.
But who has won?
Everybody's won enormous prizes.
But who is to give the prizes?
Why, she, of course.
Prizes! Prizes!
She must have a prize herself, you know.
What else do you have in your pocket?
Well, only, a thimble.
Hand it over. We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble.
Yay!
You promised to tell me your history, you know, and why it is you hate C and D.
Mine is a sad, long tale. Fury said to the mass that he met in a house that is better to Laura will prosecute you. I will prosecute you. Come, I'll take no denial. We must have a trial, but really this morning I've nothing to do. I've nothing to do. Said the master, a curse at your trial to certain our jury. Just may be wasting our breath. I'll be judge, I'll be jury, said cunning our fury. I'll try the whole course and condemn you to death. You were not attending.
I beg your pardon, I thought you had finished.
I had not.
Not, I do let me help you undo it.
I shall do nothing of the sort. You insult me by talking such nonsense.
I didn't mean it. Please come back and finish your story.
Yes, please come back.
What a pity it wouldn't stay.
I wish I had our Dinah here. She'd soon fetch it back.
And where's Dinah? If I might venture to ask the question.
Dinah's our cat. She's such a capital one for catching mice. And oh, I wish you could see her after the birds.
It's getting very late. We really must be going.
I wish I hadn't mentioned Dinah. My dear Dinah, I wonder if I shall see you anymore.
The Duchess, oh my dear paws, oh my fur and whiskers, she'll get me executed, as sure are ferrets are ferrets. Where could I have dropped them? I wonder. Why, Marianne? What are you doing out here? Run home this moment and fetch me a pair of gloves and a fan. Quick! Now!
He took me for his housemaid. How surprised he'll be when he finds out who I am. But I better take him his fan and gloves. That is, if I can find them.
As she said this, Alice came upon a neat little house, of which has a bright brass plate with the name W. Rabbit engraved upon it. She hurried in without knocking and found herself into a tiny room. Inside was a table, and on it was a fan, and 2 or 3 pairs of tiny white kid gloves and a little bottle.
I found another bottle, it's given me a thought. I'm sure that something strange will happen if I can remove the cork. I'm tired of being little, I'm sick of feeling small. Perhaps if I should try this drink, I'll end up growing really tall. What will become of me now, I wonder? I can't imagine what I should do. Is this a magical spell I'm under? Things keep happening that hardly seem
grown so large that she stuck fast inside the rabbit's house. Luckily for Alice, the little magic bottle had had its full effect and she grew no larger.
It was much pleasanter at home, where one wasn't always argued around by mice and rabbits. I do wonder what can have happened to me. I wonder what will happen next.
And well, she might have wondered, for Alice herself could hardly believe what happened next. First, the White Rabbit came to look for his fan and gloves, but found he couldn't find them. Bill the Lizard was sent down the chimney to tackle a giant inside, but Alice with one mighty kick sent him back up like a sky rocket. Then the White Rabbit and his friends showered Alice in a burrow full of pebbles that, of her surprise, were turning into little cakes. Naturally, she tried one of them and was delighted to find that she began to shrink directly. As soon as she was small enough, she ran into the house and found herself safe in a thick wood.
The first thing I've got to do is to grow to my right size again, and the second thing is to find my way into that lovely garden. I think that will be the best plan.
It sounded an excellent plan. The only difficulty was that she didn't have the slightest idea how to set about it. Alice looked around her at all the beautiful flowers and the blades of grass. There was a large mushroom growing near her, about the same height as herself. She went on her tiptoes and looked over the mushroom. Her eyes immediately met those of a large blue caterpillar.
Who are you?
Second caterpillar, who touched the lazy, the only bird to say. Like a daisical as a bear, was the little fella that could choose.
Who can say?
I had to reply, in a strange old day, I'm changing my size. It's not easy to explain, I try, but I really know myself to say.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir, because I'm not myself, you see.
I don't see.
I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly, for I can't understand it myself to begin with. Being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing.
It isn't.
Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet, but when you have to turn into a chrysalis, you will someday, you know, and then after that into a butterfly. I should think you'd feel it a little queer, wouldn't you?
Not a bit.
Well, perhaps your feelings may be different. All I know is it would feel very queer to me.
You, who are you?
Come back here.
Called the caterpillar, he sounded quite sincere. So we laughed at her. I got something that you ought to hear and say.
Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No, so you think you've changed, do you?
I'm afraid I am, sir. I can't remember things as I used to, and I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together.
Repeat, Father William.
You were old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. And yet you insistently stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it's my tinder the brain. But now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, why I do it again and again.
That's not right.
Caterpillar, they tried to make us die, so never listen to words. My first fellow's hair, I don't know, and maybe rather thought
Nothing's right today, sir. One doesn't like changing so often, you know. But I should like to be a little larger, sir. If you wouldn't mind, 3 inches is such a wretched height to be.
It's a perfect height indeed. I don't know what is wrong with your size. You shouldn't worry, so you shouldn't criticize. You'll get used to being inches high. It's the perfect height and I should know.
unravelling all these things are. I'm never sure what's going to happen from one minute to another. Anyway, I've got to get into that lovely garden. How is it to be done, I wonder?
As she said this, Alice suddenly came upon an open place with a little house in it, about 4 feet high. For a minute or two, she stood looking at the house, wondering what to do next, when a footman in the livery came running out of the wood and went straight to the front door.
The Queen has invited the Duchess to play, along with the others, a game of croquet.
The Duchess will gladly receive from the Queen and invite to join for games in the green.
There's no point in knocking, you'll never get in. Besides, they'll make a terrible din. I will be here till tomorrow for sure. Day after day I shall sit by the door.
The footman is busy before you begin. Please do tell me how I can get in.
How do you know if you're getting at all?
There's no sense talking to her, she's a fool.
The noise in the kitchen was fearfully loud. The smoke in the kitchen was thick as a cloud. The cook in the corner was using a scoop to stir up the pepper she put in the soup. The tap was moving from ear to ear. The reason it is so was not very clear. The Duchess was nursing the baby that sneezed, howling and screaming and sat on her knees. Rock-a-bye baby sat on a stool, watch him for saucepans, dishes and dolls. Feed him and shake him, throw him around. He'll go to sleep when he hits the ground.
There's certainly too much pepper in that soup. Please would you tell me why your cat grins like that?
It's the Cheshire Cat, and that's why.
Pig! I didn't know cats could grin.
They all can, and most of them do.
I don't know of any that do.
You don't know much, and that's a fact.
Please mind what you're doing. Oh, there goes precious nose.
If everybody minded their own business, the world would go round a great deal faster than it does.
Which would not be an advantage. You see, the Earth takes 24 hours to turn on its axis.
Talking of axes, chop off her head.
24 hours, I think. Or is it 12?
Oh, don't bother me. I could never bite figures. Here, you may nurse it for a bit, if you like.
Alice carried the baby into open air where it started to grunt. She told it if it was going to turn into a pig, she'd have nothing more to do with it. It grunted again, so violently that Alice set the creature down and was quite relieved to see that it ran into the woods.
If it had grown up, it would have made a dreadfully ugly child. But makes rather handsome pig, I think.
As Alice turned around, she was a little startled to see the Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Puss, would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?
That depends on a good deal or where you want to get to.
I don't much care where.
Then it doesn't matter which way you go.
What sort of people live about here?
In that direction lives a hatter. In that direction lives a March hare. Visit either you like. They're both mad.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be or you wouldn't have come here. Do you play croquet with the Queen today?
I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there. By the by, what became of the baby? I nearly forgot to ask.
Turned into a pig.
I thought it would.
With that, the Cheshire Cat slowly vanished, beginning with the end of the tail and ending with the grin, which remained some time after the rest of it had gone.
Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat. It's the most curious thing I ever saw in all my life. White rabbits with strange habits that run round in a mad panic, never having time to turn around. Long hallways with small doorways are there sometimes, but not always. Curious indeed, the things I found. Alice, Alice, please understand. These are the things that happen in our wonderland. Alice, Alice, please understand. These are the things that happen in our wonderland. Loud sneezing and rain teasing, where words take on a new meaning. Everyone, it seems, must disagree. Rude manners and bad grammar, frog footman, a mad hatter. It's the strangest place I've ever been. Alice, Alice, please understand. These are the things that happen in our wonderland. Alice, Alice, please understand. These are the things that happen in our wonderland. Alice, Alice, please understand. These are the things that happen in our wonderland. Alice, Alice, please understand. These are the things that happen in our wonderland.
Cheshire Cat slowly vanished. Alice set off once more. She hadn't gone far before she came in sight of the March Hare. She thought it must be the right house because the chimneys were shaped like ears and the roof was thatched with fur. There was a table set out under the tree in front of the house where the March Hare and the Hatter were having a tea. A dormouse was asleep between them, fast asleep.
No room, no room.
There's plenty of room.
Have some wine.
I don't see any wine.
There isn't any.
Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table.
Your hair wants cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It's very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean find the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's just the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. You might just as well say that I eat what I see is the same thing as I see what I eat.
You might just as well say that I like what I get is the same as I get what I like.
You might just as well say that you breathe when you sleep is the same as you sleep when you breathe.
It is the same thing with you. What day of the month is it?
The 4th.
2 days wrong. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works.
It was the best butter.
Yes, but some crumbs have gotten it as well. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife.
It was the best butter, you know. What a funny watch. It tells the day of the month and doesn't tell what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Of course not, but that's because it stays the same year for such a long time together.
Which is just the case with mine.
I don't quite understand you.
The dormouse is asleep again.
Of course. Just what was I going to remark myself?
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea. I'm mad as a hatter. I've never felt better. It's hard to believe that I'm out of my mind, but I'm mad as a hatter. So pass me the butter, 'cause life is a party all of the time. He's mad as a hatter. He's never felt better. It's hard to believe that he's out of his mind, but he's mad as a hatter. So pass him the butter, 'cause life is a tea party all of the time. Ravens are rather like a riddle. Tell me if you think it's true. Tell him to tell him. You won't be able to guess. You'll have to tell him. I've really not got a. He's mad as a hatter. He's never felt better. It's hard to believe that he's out of it, but he's mad as a hatter. So pass him the butter, 'cause life is a tea party all of the time. It was the middle of the middle. I had a quarrel with him. Yes, we remember. Now he does nothing. He never listens. He was a good friend of. He's mad as a hatter. He's never felt better. It's hard to believe that he's out of his mind, but he's mad as a hatter. So pass him the butter, 'cause life is a tea party all of the time. I want to clean cup. Let's all move one place on. I find it hard to explain. A puzzle. Thoughts that go round in my head. No rhyme or reason. Dormouse, you're sleeping again. Twinkle, twinkle. You better go back to. He's mad as a hatter. He's never felt better. It's hard to believe that he's out of his, but he's mad as a hatter. So pass him the butter, 'cause life is a tea party all of the time. I'm mad as a hatter. I've never felt better. It's hard to believe that I'm out of my mind, but I'm mad as a hatter. So pass me the butter, 'cause life is a tea party all of the time. Hey!
I'll never go there again. It's the stupidest tea party I ever was at in all my life.
Just as she said this, Alice noticed that one of the trees had a door leading right into it. Curious indeed. But she went in. She found herself at last in the beautiful garden among the bright flower beds and the cool fountains. There was a large rose tree that stood near the front of the entrance of the garden. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 gardeners there busily painting them red.
Now look out, Five. Don't go splashing paint all over me like that.
I couldn't help it. 7 nudged my elbow.
That's right, Five. Always lay the blame on others.
You better not talk. I had the Queen's Day only yesterday. You deserve to be beheaded.
What for?
That's not your business too.
Yes, it is his business, and I'll tell him. It was for bringing the cook tulip roots instead of onions.
Well, all of the injustice things too.
Would you tell me why you were painting those roses?
Well, the fact is, you see, miss, this ought to be a red rose tree, but we put a white one in mistake. If the Queen were to find out, we shall all have our heads cut off, you know.
So you see, miss, we're doing our best before she comes to.
The Queen, the Queen.
Make way for the royal procession. They make their entrance two by two. They'll all be out to make an impression. Be careful what you say and do. This family has a sporting tradition. We're proven winners through and through. Our bodies are in tip-top condition. Our team will wipe the floor with you. Our pride is in our social position. We're first to hear the royal news. We're in with all the top politicians and all the gossip columns too. I'm late, I'm getting in terrible state, I have to hurry. Better get to move 'cause I'm running out of time. Our fathers have a fine reputation. They're really rather well to do. They've given us the best education and all the money we can use. We're here to represent other nations, from Mexico to Timbuktu. And we received the Queen's invitations before she even thought of you. The King and Queen of Hearts. Who is this? Idiot, what's your name, child?
My name is Alice, so please, Your Majesty.
And who are these?
How should I know? It's no business of mine.
Off with their head, off with
Nonsense.
Turn them over. Get up. Leave off that, you make me giddy. What have you been doing here?
May it please your majesty, we're trying to.
I see. Off with their heads.
You shan't be beheaded.
Are their heads off?
Their heads are gone, if it please you, Your Majesty.
Can you play croquet?
Yes,
Come on then. It's a very fine day.
very. Where's the Duchess?
Hush, hush. She's under sentence of execution.
What for?
She boxed the Queen's ears. Oh, hush. The Queen will hear you, you see. She came rather late, and the Queen said, "Get to your places."
It's such a lovely day for playing croquet. Show me a better way to spend your time. Really, I have to say that life is okay. Out on the lawn today is just divine. I have been practicing with my flamingo. It's not an easy thing to keep in line. I am delighted in the way my swing goes. It needs some polishing, but I'll be fine. Croquet is not so cool when you're a hedgehog. I've never saw a ball, it's so unkind. If we don't curl up small, then I'll knock our heads off. Since they don't care at all, we'll run and hide. Croquet is not so cool when you're a soldier. I've never been the same since last I tried. I can't describe the pain
stop. Now, it's about time the rest of you did some singing. You should know the tune by now. Other words, ready, yet, good. Now over time, anyone who doesn't tune in, your head will be removed. Executions to your places.
It's such a lovely day for playing croquet. Show me a better way to spend your time. Really, I have to say that life is okay. Out on the lawn today, it's just divine. It's such a lovely day for playing croquet. Show me a better way to spend your time. Really, I have to say that life is okay. Out on the lawn today, it's just divine. Whenever you play croquet and your neck is on the line, we should all be glad just to stay alive. We should all be glad just to stay alive.
Off with the head, off with the head, and off with his head.
They're dreadfully fond of beheading people here. The great wonder is that there's anyone left alive.
How are you getting on?
I don't think they play it all fairly, and they all quarrel so dreadfully.
How did you like the Queen?
Not at all. She's so extremely, likely to win that it's hardly worth finishing the game.
Who are you talking to?
It's a friend of mine, the Cheshire Cat. Allow me to introduce it.
I don't like the look of it at all. However, you may kiss my hand if it likes.
I would rather not.
Don't be impertinent and don't look at me like that.
A cat may look at a king.
Well, it must be removed. My dear, I wish you would have this cat removed.
Off with his head.
I'll fix the execution myself.
Have you seen the mock turtle yet?
No, I don't even know what a mock turtle is.
It's the thing that mock turtle soup is made from.
I've never seen it or heard of it.
Come on then, and you shy toes history. Griffin, hurry up, you lazy thing, and take this young lady to see the mock turtle. I must go back and see some executions I have ordered.
Alice was left alone with the griffin. She didn't quite like the look of the creature, but thought it would be safe to go on with her after the queen. They hadn't gone far before they came in sight of the mock turtle, sitting sad and lonely on the edge of a rock.
What is his sorrow?
It's all his fancy that he hasn't got no sorrow, you know. Come on, this here young lady, she wants for to hear your history, she do.
I'll tell it to her. Sit down, both of you. Once I was a real turtle. We used to go to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We called him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise? If he wasn't one.
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Why, you really are dull.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself asking such a simple question.
We used to go to school in the sea. We had the best of educations. In fact, we used to go to school every day.
I've been to a day school too.
With extras?
Yes, we learned French and music.
And washing?
Certainly not.
Ah! Then yours isn't a very good school. At ours, we learned French, music, and washing extra. I only took the regular course, though.
What was that?
Reeling and writing, of course, to begin with, and then the different branches of arithmetic, ambition, and distraction, uglification, and desertion. Were you ever introduced to a lobster?
I once tasted... No, never.
Then you have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is? If you listen, then I'll explain. You'll see it's a delightful game. Clear the jellyfish out the way, and then we can begin.
Find a lobster and take his head.
turtles and everyone. We're all having the best of fun. Join the party, we've just begun. Come on and do the lobster dance. Hail your lobster with all your might. Add 2 seaways out of sight. Don't you worry, he'll be alright. He loves to play the game.
Some sort in the sea, you will find it comes naturally. Bring your partner back and we can start it all again.
Seals and turtles and everyone, we're all having the best of fun. Join the party, we've just begun. Come on and do the lobster dance. Woo! Yeah! 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 Seals and turtles and everyone, we're all having the best of fun. Join the party, we've just begun. Come on and do the lobster dance. Seals and turtles and everyone, we're all having the best of fun. Join the party, we've just begun. Come on and do the lobster dance.
Thank you. It's a very interesting dance to watch.
Now, is that your poem for?
Would you like me to?
Very much indeed.
Will you walk a little faster, said the whiting to the snail. There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail. See how eagerly all the lobsters and seals advance? They're waiting on a shingle. Will you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance?
Thank you. If I'd have been the whiting, I'd have said to the porpoise, keep back, please. We don't want you with us.
They're obliged to have him with them. No wise fish would go on a journey without a porpoise.
Don't you mean purpose?
I mean what I say.
Shall we try another figure of lobster gorgio? Or would you like the mock turtle to sing you a song?
Oh, a song, please, if the mock turtle would be so kind.
Sing our beautiful soup, will you, old fellow?
This is a song that I love to recite. Do sing along if you choose. I'll sing the chorus so you get it right. It's not a difficult tune. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, so green and so clean. A beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Beautiful, 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 beautiful soup. First thing for breakfast or last thing at night. This is my favorite food. It can be served any way that you like. I'll always be in the mood. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, so green and so pleasing. My beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soup. Who cares for chicken or savory rice, vegetable curry or stew? If I were offered whatever I like, can you not guess what I'd choose?
Give us a clue.
Begins with an S.
Slime sex, slippery sponge, shiny shells, spicy sauce, silly salmon. No?
Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Days of the evening, so green and so pleasing. Beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Come on. What trial is it? Come on.
Alice and the Griffin hurried off to the courtroom. Alice had never been in a court of justice before, but she had read about them in books. She was pleased to find that she knew the name of nearly everything in there.
That's the judge because of his great wig, and that's the jury box. And those 12 creatures, I suppose they are the jurors. What are they doing?
They're putting down their names for the fear they should forget them at the end of the trial.
Stupid things. I wish they get the trial done and hand round the refreshments.
Silence in the court. Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, she stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Who stole the tart? Who stole the tart? Who stole the tart? Who stole the tart? Put her in the prison and lock her up, lock her up. Put her in the prison and throw away the key. Put her in the prison and lock her up, lock her up. Put her in the prison and throw away the key. Call the first witness. First witness. Take off your hat. Take off your hat. Whose hat is that? Whose hat is that? Put him in the prison and lock him up, lock him up. Put him in the prison and throw away the key. Put him in the prison and lock him up, lock him up. Put him in the prison and throw away the key.
I'd rather finish my tea, sir.
You may go.
Just take his head off outside.
Call the next witness. Who bagged the tarts? Who bagged the tarts? What's in the tart? What's in the tart? Put her in the prison and lock her up, lock her up. Put her in the prison and throw away the key. Put her in the prison and lock her up, lock her up. Put her in the prison and throw away the key. Never mind, call the next witness.
Alice? Here.
What do you know about this business?
Nothing.
Nothing whatever.
Nothing whatever.
That's very important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty, means...
Unimportant, of course. Important, unimportant, unimportant, important.
Oh, do be quiet and get on with it.
Yes, of course, dear. Consider your verdict. Let the jury consider their verdict. No, no, no. Sentence first and then verdict afterwards.
Stop and nonsense. The very idea of the sentence first. Hold your tongue. I won't.
Off with the head. Off with the head.
Off with the head.
Off with the head. Off with the head. Off with the head. Off with the head. Off with the head. Off with the head. Off with the head.
Who cares for you? You're nothing but a pack of cards.
She found herself on the bank of her head, and her head was on the lap of her sister, who was gently brushing away some dead leaves that had fluttered down from the trees upon her face.
Wake up, Alice, do I look sleepy, Pan.
Oh, I've had such a curious dream. Fierce ladies with pink babies and strange games played.